Hi, Guido Fox here. Welkom bij een nieuwe spiritual book report. And today I want to talk and discuss with you the book from Osho about the Buddha said. It's nearly 450 pages of wisdoms, life wisdoms, and the Buddha was writing sutras, life wisdoms, and Osho gave his commentary of the life wisdoms of Buddha and wrote a lot of stuff, his insights about this Buddha sutras. So it's a combination, that's what I want to say, of two highly spiritual, intellectual, and guys who really read a lot of books. Osho were reading 150,000 books, and probably Gautam Buddha, the son of the king, was also able to read a lot of books and have a lot of knowledge. So this combination will be very, very interesting if two knowledgeable guys will put their knowledge together. So the Buddha said was a very interesting book to read, and I like to discuss with you the core essence of this life wisdom. And I want to start with a very contradictory and controversial idea about life wisdom, and that is saying goodbye to your parents. And that is something very normal and useful, and also very helpful for yourself, for your development. Your parents can be a blockade for your happiness, for your personal growth, and that's actually where your soul wants. I mentioned that also in my previous video. Your soul wants to become enlightened, and if your parents are an energetical blockade for that, that you have not a lot of freedom to discover that, or your parents have toxic behavioral patterns in their relationship or in their communication towards you, then is it a good moment that you also can say goodbye to your parents forever or temporarily or whatever. The technical enlightenment process is that you can be enlightened by yourself, by your own meditation and your own contemplation. But an enlightened master or an enlightened teacher can transfer the spiritual energy towards you. So if you're not high spiritual calibrate, then probably your parents, where you were 20 years or 15 years or whatever, parental conditioning or parental energy transmission, then you missed out. So if we talk about energy transmission between your father and your mother, and they transfer energy because you live in the same house, right? Then probably you were already enlightened. Probably you were already ecstatic in your chakras. But for sure that didn't happen. So like 1999% of the world population are not have the ecstatic inner feelings. So there were no parental transmission there. So what Buddha says, leave your parents. He was getting out of his kingdom palace, And there are always so romantic story behind it from, oh yeah, he was running away to serve the poor people outside the palace. But no way, that was an energetically split between his parents and his own energy system development, and renouncing the world, so renouncing the ego world. He wants to go higher in his spiritual energy and going to heaven, and that's where he was leaving the palace. The palace was a place of ego mechanism, where a place of ruling the world, ruling the country where his father was the boss from. So that means conflict, political games, and that's not where you want to go in if you want to raise your consciousness. So it was an energy split by his father and his mother and his family, but also he was renouncing the world. So he was saying goodbye to the ego world and reaching higher spiritual stages of happiness. So that's what Buddha also was saying. Leave your parents. And Jesus Christ, very interesting. He was also leaving his parents. He was at 14 years old. He left his parents, and on page 14, and that is where there is a quote of Jesus, and there were not really a lot of church members or priests or domines or whatever were teaching this sentence of Jesus, but it's a very interesting sentence. And he said here, unless you hate out of the mouth of Jesus, unless you hate your father and mother, you cannot become my disciple. So you cannot become my disciple if you're not can say goodbye to your parental conditioning. So what Jesus was saying were hate your parents, and what he was saying actually there was hate the parental conditioning, because the parental conditioning doesn't make you enlightened. There is another teacher there's a spiritual teacher. By a new reborn, you reborn yourself in your inner energetically system. So reborn is taking place with the opening and the attainment of the Hidrada opening in your body. There is a new life, what is going on in your body, a new flowering of ecstatic feelings in your line, in your Amrita Nadi line. And by a new opening up, there's a new rebirth. There's een wedergeboorte. There is a rebirth. There's a new light in yourself. You found a new light in yourself. An ecstatic light in yourself. So there's a new born. You're born again. You're refreshed again. You have a new energy source again in your body. So by a new rebirth in your life, there's a new parent, there's a new father, there's a new mother there. So new teachers, new spiritual teachers for you who can lead the road for you. Your parents probably cannot give you that. And probably you're very, very disappointed also on a certain stage in your parents or your grandparents. because there is also energy transmission going on. So rebirth is also related to find a new spiritual master who can lead you the way. Your parents give you probably some society wisdom, society conditions, wisdom from their parents, but not the ultimate wisdom, the ultimate energy they cannot transfer to you. So therefore you probably become disappointment in your parents on a certain age. And we were always in a society and normal that you go once per week bravely to your parents to visit, to be polite. We are going higher in the worldly spiritual levels. What that means is that we are skipping out of the family. What Osho was saying in 1980, the family is dead. So now you see already that children or whatever less and less visit their parents, less and less visit their grandmother and grandfather. So we're flying early, like Jesus, out of the family. So that's a very interesting phenomenon, and it is also very real, and it's also very natural. I mean, in the jungle you lived 35 age and you were dead, right? 40. So there's a very short lifespan and space for your parents. But there's another thing, and that is giving love from a real source. And be real, be honest. And a lot of people are serving their parents and their mother and going there on birthday parties because they want to polite. They want to be netjes. But that's not your real person. You can only give love if you want to share your love to your parents or your family. If you really love to do that. If you don't want to be there, you don't have to be there. You're always free to leave your parents. You are always free to leave your family. There's always a free option for yourself because you have a free soul. So freedom is the highest. You want to become completely free first. And from that freedom, you can share love and compassion to the world where you want to share love to. If you really love your parents, okay, go, right? If you feel comfortable with, but don't see it as a dogma. Don't see it as a rule. Rules make life dead. So Buddha and Jesus were both enlightened beings by leaving their parents, temporarily or forever. I think that is very important to mention. So that's one thing, and second thing is hypocrisy is fake, that people are serving their parents because there's money, or right, if they're going dead they get some money and we do nicely to them, and it's because everyone is doing that. And please be a little bit more real and be a little bit more natural and honest to yourself if you really want still to join your parents or not. But you have, do what you want, but you have always a free choice. You have always a free choice to do what you want to do. You have a free soul. So that's one of the lessons what Buddha was saying. And that can be very hard, right? But spirituality is very hard. You have to fight for your freedom, to make space for the inward journey. There is space needed for the inward journey, for meditation, and be out of society conditioning, to be deconditioned, to be free of mind. There needs space for that and time. Well, the Buddha was very pragmatic, very simple life, very organized life. It's also very interesting to mention. He was also very sportive, very fanatic. Gautam Buddha was a guy who was shooting on animals. So you have to be very sharp for that, very precise, and it's the same energy you use for spiritual awakening, to be constantly aware and constantly in your inner chakras. So what he learned with sport and with sport and with hunting aspect and prizes is the same energy. So what you see is that very fanatic sports people are also more highly spiritual, calibrated, and evolved also as a person with resistance and teleurstellingen. So that's also what you see by sports guy. They are more highly evolved persons than other people in this world. So sportive, Gautam Buddha was very sportive and fanatic, and the same energy with focusing you can transfer in your meditative and contemplative lifestyle. Very pragmatic, organized, and you have to be organized because then you make freedom for the source, freedom for your spiritual life. So you don't have to lose energy in all those kind of nonsense doing shit. So an organized, simple life leads to more higher spiritual evolved inner ecstatic happiness. I mentioned it also in some videos ago, from you can have so much money, and I like money so much. I can do so much things with it, but if you have so much money to storage and you have to open 10 bank accounts and to see in which houses you want to invest, and that is all leakage of energy into bullshit time what you can invest in making love with women, or in your case women or men, or meditate. So your opportunity costs will be very, very high if you have to manage where you have to put all your millions of dollars in. So that's also what I'm seeing with a client, and there's so much money and it's to worrying in which kind of investment. And I'm very lucky with one daily bank account and one saving bank account, and I have some stocks, but it's not a lot. It's quite simple, right? You have one bank account, and sometimes you look at it, oh, it's going down, so you have to save a little bit. Oh, it's rising up, oh, we can spend some money on sustainable subjects, right? So be very simple, a simple life, an organized life, and money, consciousness, organized life. Now that's very important, I think, also to mention on the life of a Buddha, to stay fit, pragmatic, sportive, also mind body balancing there. So that's also what you see there, what you can learn from the life of Buddha. Borrowed knowledge, page 121. And this is interesting. The society has given you a lot of knowledge. From the youth in your school, from the higher school, from the universities, PhD triact. So you're being with borrowed knowledge, and it is nearly always the case that you never think for yourself. And what meditation is doing is that you're going to the deeper layers of thinking. And then there comes space. And in that space you can think about yourself. You can think about your own character, about your own destructive behaviors in the past. And you can think who you actually are. Who are you and what you want with your life? So the borrowed knowledge in your system is not you. It's a false identity. It's not your non-ego self-awareness identity, what you can find in yourself. So you're a borrowed knowledge person. And that can be a distortion to reach higher ecstatic phases. Because you are borrowed knowledge, you don't know who you are, you have created a false identity. And secondly, you stay very rational, very searching for solutions. Solutions. There's a problem and you want to solve it immediately. And that's what you learn on schools. You have a problem and you want to solve it. You get knowledge and you have to make an exam of it. You have to bring the knowledge. So that's our two distortions. You have to let go of borrowing knowledge, and let go of the rational mind, to always search for a solution, or always want to know something, and always wants to learn something. That can be also an addiction, right? Always an addiction to learn and to learn and to learn. Free of addictions, detoxing, de-addicting. That's what meditation is. Meditation is detoxic and de-addiction. No addiction, no toxic patterns anymore in your behavioral communication and social awareness. Page 161. Evil thoughts. We all have dark thoughts. We all have, oh, I want to kill that guy or woman. she or he hurts me so much. She or he doesn't deserve a place on earth anymore. I want to hurt that guy. I want to smash him on the ground. I hate that guy because he has so big ego. He thinks he's the boss here, but he pretends. So that's what you see. You have evil thoughts, and I can also say if you have not enough rest and not a lot of sleep, then you become more and more confronted with evil thoughts. That's because of the law of Murphy. The law of Murphy, if you have pain or someone is nasty to you, then you remembered about nasty past events. So with meditation and with more good sleep and taking rest between the days, you have less evil thoughts. And the evil thoughts are energy leakage. You don't want to be there. You want to solve those thoughts, dissolve those thoughts in your ecstatic line. So dissolving those thoughts, healing those thoughts. So first less thoughts, the process of less thoughts is taking enough rest, and then healing those thoughts. Because those thoughts are really energy leakage. They drive you away from the source. They drive you away from the line. So I have nearly less and less evil thoughts anymore. They're gone. They're less and less. So I can spend all my time and energy to my work, to my book reports, to read new books. So that's how you deal with evil thoughts. Evil thoughts who coming out of your mind. Destructive thoughts. Page 173. Dogmas cannot liberate you. So that is very disappointment and also kind of funny to see is that all those churches and all those organizations have their rules. That's also where Jesus were really disappointed in the rules of the Jewish society. When you have to eat, which place, what you can eat and what you not can eat. All those dogmas, all those rules, all those organized religions will not transfer your energy into a higher state. So rules and rationality will not lead to higher stages. So Jesus were saying kingdom of heaven is within you. So he was probably constant aware of the inner chakra work. And that's the core, right? That's the source. It doesn't matter what you eat. It doesn't matter on which time you eat. Doesn't matter on which time you pray. Well, what I said, religion is for the crowd. They need rules probably. And spirituality is for the royals. And spirituality is for the higher evolved person here on earth, who already are further. So probably there's reason for it that they are organized religious with rules to keep the crowd in their prison, to lock the crowd up in the prison of rules. But rules don't make you happy, don't make you more and more ecstatic. Page 340 and 342. Say only that which is. That's what Buddha was saying. Say only what is relevant. In my life I saw and evaluate and scanning behaviors of so many people, thousands of people. And they all talk about nothing. They all talk with their beer in their hand or their wine about nothing. There's no grounded there. It's lose energie. It is false energy. So say only what is relevant and be quiet a little bit more. So many people are talking and talking and talking without saying anything, without come to a conclusion. There's a lot of times in my life I was talking at a party and I said, what is your conclusion, girl or guy? What's your conclusion? What you want to say actually? What you want to say actually to me? That's rumor, it is the chattering of the crowd. The quarreling of the crowd. Who is speaking about nothing. Out emptiness they speak. And what Osho was saying is a little bit a side topic, is that behind that it is sexual suppression, so less variety in your sex life or bad sex life leads that the energy has to go somewhere else, and that is talking and talking about bullshit. So if you deeper analyze people and traces, and if someone talks much, then there is sex suppressed in the most cases. So sexual disappointment in life, a man who cannot service women for a long term in bed, that leads to talking and talking and talking in bars and traces and clubs about nothing. They don't fuck. So that's what you see in the behavioral patterns of people. So Buddha say only that which is, on page 340. Never move into fictions. Never move into fictions. So in future or in Star Wars world, be here and now and enjoy this way. So in fictions, only say that which is true and real. Don't fake. Only say that which you have experienced. And that's very interesting about the right speech of Buddha. Only say that which is experienced, what you experienced yourself. And a lot of people have not really had a lot of experience in their life. But talk from experience. Never talk about others' experience. Or what most people are doing is gossiping about others, playing games about others. So it's the right speech. If you have not known true, please don't say anything about true, because whatever you say will be a falsification, will be sacrilege, will be a sin. So be more quiet. The right speech, grounded in your experiences, rooted in your experience. Never say anything else. So talk from experience. It's a very important life wisdom. Otherwise, everything what you say is borrowed knowledge. Borrowed knowledge as others' experience. So talk less, be more quiet, and come earlier to the conclusion. Page 361. Before reaching enlightened, before reaching higher spiritual realms, what Buddha was saying, there is a chaotic state. So there is a chaotic state before reaching enlightenment. And that is very logical, because you have to fight yourself out of the triangles and the ropes of society. So society condition, you have to break through it. So you need to be a little bit rebel. You need to become an outsider. You need to be rebels. Rebels is good, because then you're going to think for yourself and you're going to follow your own path in life. So be more rebel. Be more rebel. Don't follow anyone. Follow your own path. Don't follow me. Come on. Don't follow all those teachers and priests and political leaders. Follow yourself. And that needs that you become a more rebel and stand for yourself and choosing your own path in life. So that can be a little bit chaotic, and people have fear of this chaotic state. And because they have fear, they experience fear, they don't want to go in this chaotic state and live their security, safe life. Everything is fine, it's okay. It's okay, this relationship. It's okay, this job. It's all fine. So people are afraid to come by themselves, and then there's fear of coming by yourself, and also the fear of coming in this chaotic state. So, but it is needed. It's needed for you grow. It's needed for your experience. It is needed to coming more forward in life, to pass this chaotic state. Thank you for watching this video about Buddha, about what Buddha was saying, with the teachings from Jesus included, and also the teachings of Osho, of course, about reaching higher spiritual realms. And I wish you a wonderful day, and I hope to see you back by the next video. Hi.